All right, folks, welcome back here, Sports Talk Nation. And once again, Steve Cohen is playing chess while everyone else is playing checkers. So the Mets last night, with some big news, as we all know, Brandon Nimmo now comes back into the fold with the Mets. 8 years, $162 million. That's $20.25 million a year. And you know what? Yes, it's a steep price. Yes, it's a long contract, 8 years, and who knows where Nimmo will be towards the end of that contract. But let's be honest, folks, and I'll be completely honest with you. I don't care, because the Mets had to get this deal done to bring Brandon Nimmo back into the fold. There really weren't many great options had Nimmo left, and the rumors that he was going to go to Toronto, and you heard San Francisco in the mix. When this whole free agent process, when Nimmo started, you heard about possibly Colorado bringing the mix. There weren't a lot of great options for the Mets. After Nimmo, you're talking about what? Maybe an Andrew Benintendi, who was more of a fourth outfielder at this point. They would have had a hard time trying to find a player to replace him at this point in center field, to be as productive both as a leadoff guy, and yes, he has improved defensively as well. So it would have been a challenge for them. Could they have done it? I'm sure they could have. They would have had to really scrap to do it, but why bother? Bring back the guy who was a first-round pick for this team back in 2011 and keep him in the fold, possibly for the rest of his career. He now has a chance, much the way Aaron Judge does with the Yankees. He now has a chance to have a C on his chest as a team captain, maybe even Pete Alonso as well. But that is a huge move for the Mets, and I also love the aggression the Mets showed, because even as they got Nimmo, they weren't done. They went out and signed David Robertson as well. Robertson was a pitcher who the Mets were interested in the trade deadline last year. Couldn't get him. Cubs decided to trade Robertson at the time to the Philadelphia Phillies. He pitched well for the Phillies down the stretch at 2.7 ERA. At the end of the regular season, 1.17 ERA in the playoffs. He is a right-handed pitcher, veteran pitcher, and he's going to slide right in to that setup man role behind Edwin Diaz, really in front of Edwin Diaz for that matter, in the eighth inning. So, does that spell the end of Seth Lugo and or Adam Ottavino? We'll have to wait and see. Of course, those two guys are still free agents at this point. And we'll see what else the Mets are going to do here. But this was a huge, huge night for New York, because it sounded like Nimmo was out of here, folks. It sounded like he was gone. And certainly Dave Robertson wasn't on the radar for anybody going into this winter meeting period, and certainly going into free agency. And the Mets just continue to show that, and Steve Cohen continues to show that, look, he doesn't care how much money he has to pay in a tax. And the Mets could be looking at a tax threshold of over, or at least a payroll well north of $345, maybe even $350 million. And that's going to kick a huge luxury tax on the New York Mets. Steve Cohen keeps proving he does not care. He'll do anything he can to try to get this team over the finish line. And if that means bringing back one of the Mets' best players this past year, Brandon Nimmo, who is a guy who gets on base, has a .385 career on-base percentage, draws a lot of walks, guy who's a pretty decent slap hitter, gets a lot of doubles. He will occasionally hit a big home run every so often, and as I said before, has improved defensively and is a good person to have in the clubhouse. So be it. And what's next? Kodai Senga, and the Mets are still supposedly in. Last I heard, in on Senga. A lot of people like him. The Mets really like him, and there's still continued discussions that he is going to be possibly the next piece that joins this team. And now there are rumors that the Mets could go after Carlos Correa, who is a free agent as well. Correa, shortstop with the Houston Astros, and then this past year with the Minnesota Twins. Now there's talk the Mets could go after him, and he would obviously play third base. If the Mets were to sign Correa, what would that mean for Eduardo Escobar? Is a good question. What would that mean for Brett Beatty, who's in the minor leagues? So that is a very interesting development should the Mets make that move and get Correa involved as well. But again, Steve Cohen does not care what it takes. He is going to do whatever he can to do whatever he can. He'll pay whatever is possible. It seems that way to make this happen. So for Met fans, Got to feel giddy. You got to feel good with the way things are going right now in the off season so far. I still have questions about Verlander as far as his durability as he's approaching age 40 and going above 40 over the length of a 2-year, possibly 3-year contract. So I still have questions there. But getting Nimmo, an absolute no-brainer. Robertson, a no-brainer as well. And we'll see what else Steve Cohen is going to stuff under that Christmas tree. Like and subscribe, and we will talk to you next time. Oh, by the way, also on Fox Sports New Jersey, we will have a very special show on Saturday at 8:30 a.m. as I'll talk to Julian Gayarte of Out in the Field. That is his channel. He covers the Somerset Patriots. We talk about the MLB winter meetings. We talk about the Somerset Patriots, the Yankees, the Mets as well. That's on Fox Sports New Jersey at 8:30, and I will post the link in the description as well for you to take a listen. And even we'll post some clips from the interview a little bit later on. Like and subscribe. We'll talk to you next.